back in today with a complete front porch rebuild. We're going to be tearing it down and rebuilding it for you today, guys, all in one video. It's going to be all in one. It's going to be step by step. You're going to show the entire process, and we're going to explain entirely how it's done so you can build it all on your own. This video will be a little over 5 minutes, but it will be well worth your time. Obviously, we start with the demolition. We are demoing this porch because it is time. It is breaking down, and the homeowner no longer likes the look and wants to redo it in its entirety. So that's what we're going to do. When we say tear it down, we're going to be tearing it down to grade height, which we have shown here. We're then going to appease our form and poor people, and we're going to pour a 6-inch wall on top of the existing block that are there, and we're going to be filling all the way down. We're using 4,500 pound concrete that is fiber mesh reinforced. We let it sit overnight. We strip the forms, and we're going to be laying block on top. We lay our first course of 8s all the way through. These are 8x8 by 16-inch block. We're using type M masonry mortar, sand, and water to set those. Now we're doing, for our top course, we're doing 1/8 and 1/12, and we're alternating every other course. Every other block we lay, The reason we're doing that is we want the 12s to stick out and catch the eventual slab that we're going to be pouring. Now we parge coat the entirety of the block that we just laid. We cut diamonds in to help with adhesion. Now we're forming out our bottom step. We're forming out our base. This is going to be a 6-inch step. We're using 4,500 PSI concrete. It is fiber mesh reinforced as well. We go to the top of the form. We jitterbug and we leave it rough because we'll be laying on top. Now we're filling all the rest of the block entirely solid with high strength concrete mix. We fill it all the way top to bottom. It completely locks in. We're building our steps. This is going to feature 2 14-inch platform steps, and then it's going to have the platform in general. We're filling those steps completely solid as well. Each step is going to be 7 inches in rise and then 7 inches into the door. We're using acrylic fortifier, Acryl 60, to both clean and bond simultaneously. So we're going to be setting our stone and our limestone. For our limestone, we're going with 10-inch treads on the top. We're setting them in a type M masonry mortar. Sand, water, and acrylic fortifier is also added in that mix. We're laying the tops in 2 10-foot pieces, as we have a 20-foot wide area, and then we're doing our return. We pitch the limestone away from the home. We don't want any water to sit on the home. We all want it to run away from the home, so you have positive pitch away from the home. The steps are 14-inch limestone. We're making sure there's 7 inches under the door and snapping our line for our concrete. We're putting our rebar in to reinforce the concrete. It is rebar reinforced 5/8 number 5 bars that are in a grid form and all tied off to each other. Now we pour 4,500 PSI concrete one more time for the concrete platform. That is also fiber mesh reinforced. We screed it entirely out. We want it flat. I don't say level because, like I said, it has pitch running away from the door, away from the home, and outward. Even though there's a roof structure over top, you still want pitch. We then hit it with our mag float, our bolt trowel. Then we take our steel trowel and we knock down any lines, any humps, bumps, or lumps. And then we put our finish on. For this particular finish, we like to go with a sponge float. We like it rough. We don't want it to be slippery when wet. This is an elderly woman's home. We want her not to be able to slip when it comes outside, when it's icy or when it's wet. So we do the rough for traction. Now we hose everything down. We wet it. We do Acryl 60 in our mix. And we're doing our type M masonry mortar one more time. We butter the backs of the stones. After wetting them, we wash the backs of the stones to clean them and bond them simultaneously. This is Sienna stack ledge stone made by Dutch Quality. We like to course it out and do running bond for this particular stone. This is how it looks best, and we like to space a little bit and do joints because there's little gaps that we don't like, and we like to make it uniform with the joints. When done correctly and you take your time, the joints make the stone. They're what makes the look. So take your time and fill in your joints and break them out appropriately. Now we're getting ready to do our columns. We're doing 5-inch columns. As you can see here, we're marking our base and our top cap. We're drilling in. We're fastening to the bluestone or to the limestone with blue screws. Blue screws are also known as tap guns. You put them in. We have to jack up the roof structure to be able to get the column in. Then we let it back down. We're having 3 columns that are spaced equidistant apart. We're doing that on purpose for when we run the rail system in between. Now we're running this stone, the rest of the foundation of the home, to tie it all in together. Now it's time to turn our attention to grouting the stone. We use a grout bag for this process. Same mixture, type M masonry mortar, sand, water, and acrylic fortifier in it. We squeeze the joints in with a grout bag. We let it sit. Then we finger out the joint. We use the back of a brush. Then we flip the brush over and we brush it. Then we take a whitewash brush and knock off any snots, and we clean it up entirely as we go, as shown here. It's a very simple but tedious process. Take your time and do it when it's tacky. If you do it when it's still wet, you'll smear it and you'll mess up the stone. Now that the porch is entirely erected, it's time to turn our attention to our railings. We're going to go with a veranda rail system. It's a PVC rail system that is going to play off and match perfectly with the columns that we installed. Railings, when they're done right, should be somewhere between 36 and 42 inches based upon code. We fasten them in and we move on to the next one. You've got to buy brackets and all those systems to tie it in together. This particular railing is about $1,200 for what was needed for here, including the columns. Then you turn your attention to your stair rail. It's done the same way. It's always an interesting angle. This happened to be 28.5 degrees. We had to cut it and we drilled it in, and there you have it. You always line it up with the top and bottom. You want to make sure that it's no more than 3 inches off the porch, and you want to make sure it touches the steps as it goes up, the risers. Now here is our completed look. We'll have a before and after picture. Thank you to everybody who watched.